Good morning, everyone. This is Ma'am Bren, and you are with me in my channel, Learning Filipino using Picture Dictionary. I would like to play all the slides together so that you will be oriented or are aware of what is going to happen in this channel. Now, let me tell you about the beginning of this. This is just an initial presentation of the channel Ma'am Bren's Filipino channel. It will preview some reasons behind learning another language, which is Filipino. So the background of this channel is that this picture dictionary will cover the most useful and basic Filipino words and phrases, which will lead to the construction of short sentences, also in Filipino. It will present the most familiar and commonly used words known as conversational phrases. Now, how am I going to do this? Now, I will have a word presented in Filipino script. Then a picture of the word will be shown, so you can connect the picture and the word. And then appropriate syllabication will also be presented, so you will know how to say it. And there will be a translation to its English meaning. Okay? All right, let's move on. Now, why learn Filipino? You see, there's a lot of Filipinos outside the Philippines. It is said that you can find a Filipino in every country in the world. I had a blog before, and I think it was about what can the world be without Filipinos? What will the world be without Filipinos? All right, Filipino is the fourth widely spoken language in the United States after English, Spanish, and Mandarin. Maybe it's even the third most widely spoken language in America. California has a lot of Filipinos. Texas, Florida, New Jersey, Washington State, there's a lot of Filipinos too, even in Nevada. Even in Canada, today, Filipino is said to be the fast growing language. Because there are 11 million Filipinos living and working overseas, this diaspora carries the Filipino and Tagalog language with it. You can count on the Filipino community speaking Filipino or Tagalog when they meet or gather in groups. They are noisy and they talk all the way down. Now, here are some of the reasons why we have to learn Filipino. You see, language is our way of connecting. And so when we say connect, our experience as human being is our ability also to connect with others. If we are able to communicate with someone in his or her dialect, ooh, that is an incredible gift. Not everybody knows how to do that. It will also at least enhance your career. Why? Language skills can be a significant competitive advantage that sets you apart from your peers that only speak one language. So actually, in the playing field, this is one of the 8 skills that an applicant would need, so he is able to adapt with the group of people that he is going to serve. Another one is that it feeds your brain. There are a lot of cognitive benefits of learning languages. We can't deny this. People who speak more than one language have improved memory, problem solving, critical skills, have enhanced concentration, and the ability to multitask. All right. So there is a switch between competing tasks and monitor changes in their environment easily than only those who are speaking one language. So it makes us think deeper and critically. It also deepens your connection to other culture. Language is the most direct connection to other cultures. You know, if you're able to communicate with other cultures or other languages, it also exposes you to and even fosters an appreciation of the culture of that country. You are able to have greater understanding of their culture, and so you can at least promote greater tolerance also. Another one is that you're able to see the world. How? If you're a speaker of different languages, you can travel around the world, and to that is one way of revolutionizing the language that you are able to speak. You know, they people who are speaking several languages are very useful also in connecting one person to the other culture of the country where you learn the first or primary language. Next is that go to the source. You always have in mind about what could be a translation of this. How am I able to help this person? Go to Google, go to the internet, and then you are able to have additional meanings or language that would at least empower you to help the other person. Next, you can become a polyglot also. What is a polyglot? A polyglot is somebody who knows a lot about languages. Not only does learning of a second language improve your communication skills, it also allows you to add more or multiply vocabulary in your first language. And really, there's a lot of people who make speaking up additional languages a much easier feat. You see, I have watched some YouTube videos of drivers in Dubai, and they look like they are from the Arab countries, and yet they can speak Filipino. Why? Because probably most of the people who rides on their vehicles or taxi are Filipinos, and so in order for them to communicate well and have a jolly ride and talk within the ride, they are able to use our language to communicate. So, polyglot. Next is that it would also, learn. If you are a learner of different languages, you are able to boast your confidence. If you're a language learner, let's say if you're a language learner, you have probably on the first few weeks of learning, you have your share of mistakes, but while discovering a new language, it is necessary that we put the learning of the language and put ourselves in there and move out of your comfort zone. That means you are not only speaking one language, but you are speaking another language translated to what you learned about that language and are able to boast your confidence. Then you are able to communicate with other people as well. Then you're able to not only be on your comfort zone or not only in your chair, but you mingle with other people as well. Now, another one is that it strengthens your decision making. Decisions made in the second language, if you, let's say, if you are learning Mandarin, are more reason driven than those made in your native language. So sometimes we deliberate in a second or third language and we actually distance ourselves from the emotional responses and biases which is associated with our mother tongue. Then you are able to leverage your language learning. The last one is that it could at least gain more perspective, because as you explore a new language and a new culture, you are naturally drawing comparisons of what is most familiar. So you start with basic first. It also sheds light on aspects of our own culture. So let's say if you're just learning about greetings, it's all about greetings. So at least you can swap from one language to the next and then think about, oh, that means, like, let's say the word pansit. Pan sit. Pansit is from the Chinese. I don't know. The Chinese have several languages too. So pansit, it came from piansit. Maybe it's just because of the slur. And piansit is food that can easily be cooked. Really, cooking pansit is just cool and quick. Now let me show you the map of the Philippines. The arrow is pointing to the Philippine islands or archipelago. So Philippine archipelago. It is composed of 3 groups of bigger islands. The one to the north is Luzon. The one to the south is Mindanao. And the broken islands in the middle is the Visayas group of islands. Now, in this, if you can see, there are different islands in the Philippines. And so, because of the separation of islets and islands, all of these islands you normally have their distinct dialect. We call it dialect because it's only that geographical region or island is speaking that particular language. But it was just because of the geographical setting. Because one island might have a different dialect. When he moves to another island, he has to learn the other island's dialect. In my case, I grew up in Agutaya, so I learned Agutayanin. When I moved to Cuyo to work as a sales lady, Cuyo has another dialect, and that is Cuyunin. So the first thing I have to do was to learn how to speak and translate from my first language to Cuyunin so that I will be able to cater to the needs of the customers. See? All right, so you can also see the background. There are several countries that are around the Philippines. To the north is Taipei or Taiwan and Japan. And then you have northwest China, west Vietnam, Cambodia, and Thailand. And then southwest we have Malaysia, Borneo. And then south we have Indonesia. And then to the east, we have the big body of water, which is North Pacific Ocean. But there are also islands like Palau Islands, Koror Islands, and the Federate State of Micronesia. You will find that all of these countries around the Philippines, exchanged or made businesses before, especially the Chinese people. So the first people who went to the Philippines to barter their goodies to the products or with the products of the Philippines were the Sanglis or the Chinese. What they do was only to leave all their silk, porcelain, whatever commodities Chinese would bring to the Philippines. They're just going to leave it on the seashore, and it is up for the Filipinos to bring an exchange for the porcelain plates and cups. And before I really saw some of this, our dining sets would be porcelain. Unlike now, we have plastics already. Anyway, so they just leave it on the seashore. And by the seashore, I mean, not really on the seashore, because of course the sea is going to just wet and take all of them off. So they barter. Barter means exchange, They just leave it by the seashore and then exchange it. They were the honest people. I remember my teacher was telling us about the barter trade, and then they would just leave their products and exchange them, and nobody is attending to any of those. And then when the commodities are gone, that's the time that the Chinese are going to get off of their junk ships. They call it junk, I think. I don't know what the junta. I don't know what the term was that was used before, and then they would just get all those products that the Filipinos have exchanged for their goodies. The Malaysian government also, there is a little like Kinabalu here. This small part here is just very close to Malaysia. Some of the Filipinos would even go to Malaysia and learn the Malaysian language as well. See, it's just like nice to know about the culture and the geographical setting of the country. Now, Filipino as the national language. Every language tells a story of history, culture, tradition, natural disasters. You see, our typhoons are also named locally, invasions, and migrations. Our language brings our thoughts to life, communicate feelings, and find common ground among our greatest differences. And wherever we travel, we always try to learn at least some of the languages in the country we travel in. We form relationships with the country and the people around us, and this continues to develop little by little, giving us deeper insight and connection with them. So if you're going to travel to Japan, oh gosh, in the airport of Japan, all you see are Japanese writings. I don't know if, but you know, the last time that I traveled, they are still the same. There should be like a translation as to what do those figures mean, and what does it mean in our language or even in English. So anyway, so Japan would have some of those figures, and when you travel, before you go there, or maybe when you have a plan of going there, you should know how or what the basic words that you can use when you want to buy something. Like when I was asking, could I use your bathroom? I don't know what they call bathroom there in Japan. So you have to have at least this common terminology to use. Now, language serves as the message of our hearts for each and every one of us. So even if we speak different languages, if we have known a certain language that would neutralize all the three of you, red, blue, and green, this is not about ABS-CBN, but at least it will enhance your knowledge and be flexible with what each of you are asking about. You, the language learner, would not fit in a social gathering if you don't have that instrument, if you don't have that certain words that can at least be used by all the other members of the group. If you are in an international setting, you're attending, let's say you're attending workshop, you need to know how to communicate with other people as well. Okay? Now, here are some of the facts about the Filipino language. Actually, the Tagalog language is so important that it is the basis of the Filipino language. Officially, right now, our national language is Filipino. And regardless of province and island or whatsoever you are in the Philippines, you have to learn your national language, because it's one, because I mentioned earlier that each of the islands have some dialects, but when there is a common language that is spoken by a lot of people, more people, or different people from different regions in the country, you're able to understand each other. So by on December 30, President Quezon issued education, hold on, Executive Order number 134, series of 1937, approving the adoption of Tagalog as the language of the Philippines and declared and proclaimed the national language based on the Tagalog dialect as the national language of the Philippines. So that was why, because when you say, oh, what dialect are you speaking, or what language do you speak? You say Tagalog. What is that? Tagalog. From what country are you? Oh, I'm from the Philippines. But if you say, let's say, if somebody asks you, what language do you speak? Filipinos. Oh, you're from the Philippines? There is already that connection and identity of what country you are standing or what country you are from. Because of the many different languages around the world, it could be a barrier when trying to communicate if you don't learn or know some other dialects. Now, so Filipino is the, I'm sorry, that should be Filipino. Filipino is the standardized Tagalog and is the official language of the Philippines. Now, why is it unique? We were under, the Philippines was under the Spaniards for more than 300 years. And then we have also Chinese brothers who came to the Philippines. And then there are the Spaniards, there are the Mexicans, and then there are Americans and Japanese. Can you imagine the mixed heritage that we have, and we do not have a specific identity? Then, therefore, the Filipino language is uniquely defining the Filipino identity. Now, the Filipino alphabet is composed of the following letters in courtesy of Professor Dori Nailgas. She was the one who shared me all of this. When I was teaching back in the Philippines, I also taught Filipino. We only have 24 letters, I think. Now there are some additionals. Okay, let's try to have it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, N, N, G, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. So when I was teaching, there is no F, there is no J, there is no N, there is no Z. Oh, V also. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there are only 23 letters. There is even a, what do you call this? A chant like abacada, abacada gahai laman nga o para sa tao. Well, there's a lot that have been added. X is not there, Q is not there. So anyway, we will be using these letters as we study the Filipino language. Tomorrow will be the start of our weekly lesson. Lessons will be posted in my channel. Please check episode numbers for sequence so that you will not break the sequence or be mixed up. So kindly like, subscribe, and share with your friends. This is my channel name, Early Childhood Teaching Thoughts, and then find a folder, Ma'am Bren's Filipino Corner, because I have early childhood also for little kids, and then Ma'am Bren's Filipino Corner is for learning Filipino language. All right, that's all for now, but see you tomorrow. Again, I'm Ma'am Bren. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye-bye.